We are going to be looking at some creepy videos, strange and odd news stories, and as always, let's go ahead and get right into today's video. We definitely have quite a few things to get into in today's video. Crop circles seem to be making a resurgence, but before we go ahead and get into that, listen to what was coming out of the skies above Oklahoma on May 18th. This video comes from Brand Trend 8852.
Claremore, Oklahoma. It's coming from the sky. Bro, it's coming from the, I swear to God, it's coming from the sky. Listen. Turn that TV down.
That is coming from the sky.
What the bro? Can't be. Did you hear the neighbor? He said it's fireworks.
It definitely sounds like some kind of skyquakes or some kind of battle in the skies, and what's interesting, it wasn't just heard in Oklahoma, but other locations as well, like this comment here. This was being reported around the New Jersey area, and I forgot what other state, in the East Coast somewhere. So again, it was multiple locations. This individual said, yes, I heard it too because it woke me up from a dead sleep and was much louder from my home. It sounded like a building being demolished since it shook my home for 2 minutes, which if it is fireworks, it was excessive. Another possibility is that the sound they're hearing is actually not coming from the skies. It could be coming from the ground below. There is also an explanation floating around that this is coming from a graduation, but people are not buying this. They're saying that the graduation that took place was actually much later in the day. Not only are there strange sounds and sightings going on in the skies, but am I the only one noticing that birds have been way more active than usual at night recently? For example, this video comes from Miss Perfect on TikTok.
I don't know if I just don't go outside enough, but those when do birds chirp at 2 a.m. I don't know if I just don't.
What happens to be weird about her video is that you hear different birds. One of the birds you can hear is a mockingbird. Now, northern mockingbirds you can hear at night, but like in her video in my area, you now hear a bunch of different birds as well. Birds you would normally hear in the morning are now chirping like crazy at night. It's just so strange. I'm used to hearing mockingbirds at night, but these other birds I only hear in the morning, yet for whatever reason, they're chirping around like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and something is causing their timing to be very off.
Is it me, or is it weird that there's all these birds chirping at like midnight? Listen. I never hear birds chirping this late at night. It's weird. Anybody know why they'd be chirping so late? So many of them? Let me know.
This next interesting video comes from Moon Henry on TikTok.
Over 700 million birds are getting away from this location on this one night on Tuesday. I wonder what this is and what's been happening over here. And before you say, yeah, migration's normal every spring and fall, not like that. Not to mention, if you're like me, you've been hearing birds tweeting at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like their whole rhythm is off. And you can't say it's just not a little bit eerie. All the things we've been seeing in the sky, all the crazy storms, the catastrophic tornadoes. If you know the girl who posted this video, please tag her below. Someone stole it on Twitter and that's where I got it. I later remember passing this and she posted more than one of these videos. I mean, what in the world is this supposed to be? Of course, the same exact time I showed you these clouds with this crazy blue hue coming off of it. Almost like it's an radiation ray. Now, those birds all leaving from the same area. Check out this crazy phenomenon that this girl right here caught on the radio, which she says she watches it religiously over and over again. Why does it seem like it's so freaking hot right there for a split second? Isn't this like color coded? What in the world would cause it to get really hot for a split second? It caused all this. Fast forward. I mean, come on now. Like this one tornado that was posted on Twitter looks like a freaking BOMB went off. Like, it's ridiculous. Birds migrating, normal. Birds all taking off at the same exact time, coincidentally, while all this stuff happened. And being up all night tweeting, not normal. Something's up. And I mean, literally, something is up.
So it's very interesting how more and more people are noticing all these birds chirping at night. And again, it's not just a certain species of mockingbirds or owls, but it's birds that we're familiar with in the morning that wake us up and we hear them and they're very active. But now, for whatever reason, these same birds are just very active at night as well, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., even midnight. You know what I don't really hear many people talk about lately are crop circles, but apparently they are still a thing. News has come out that new crop circles had appeared, one on May 15th and another on May 19th. Reading this article here from the Daily Mail, and other news agencies are talking about this as well, mysterious crop circles have been discovered etched into the fields in one of the world's most famous UFO spots. Wiltshire in the United Kingdom has become the epicenter of the phenomenon since the 1970s, and the bizarre designs were recently found just 13 miles away from Stonehenge, and this perfectly crafted geometric design was spotted in a farmer's field in the Wiltshire village of Sutton Veney on May 15th. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then another one, this one right here, was spotted on May 19th, and this was 30 miles away in the nearby county of Dorset. I'm just so fascinated by these because I know a lot of people think they're a hoax or they may be man-made, but they are just so perfect in their design. And this goes years back, decades back, just how perfect and flawless they just happen to look. But when it comes to these crop circles, an interesting connection was made. Matter of fact, Interstellar Discussion on TikTok has made an interesting connection between crop circles and solar flares.
Well, sitting down and analysing the data of crop circles, today I have discovered something incredibly profound. Every single crop circle from the 2024 period and onwards has appeared after a solar flare, okay? 19th of May, right? A solar flare captured by NASA's Solar Dynamic Observatory. The crop circle I visited on May 15th, okay? So here we go. An X 2.7 class solar flare on May 14th and reported on the morning of the 15th. This is when this crop circle appeared as well. 11th of April, this year in Dorset, a X 1.1 solar flare from Sunspot region 4086. This bad boy appeared. Now, two very similar crop circles that appeared in Warminster on August 8, 2024. It appeared after a solar flare, moderate 1.97 flame, and the second one, which is the more intricate one above, appeared on August 29th, 2024. Watchers observed a series of powerful solar flares between Saturday, August 27 and Monday, August 29th, the most powerful of which registered an M8 class flare that occurred on Monday 8 at 7:07 a.m. 28th of July, 2024. Okay, so this one came from Sutton, Scotney, Hampshire. The sun emitted a strong solar flare peaking at 10:37 p.m. on July 28th, 2024. Right? Very interesting. Roman Road, Wiltshire. 23rd of July 2024, a significant solar flare occurred on July 23rd, 2024. A solar orbiter SO10 spacecraft observed an X14 class solar flare. Right? Badbury Rings, Dorset. Okay, Friday 19th of July. Solar flare activity has been moderate levels for the past 24 hours. The largest solar event of the period was an M3 event observed at the 19th. Okay, of July. Stonehenge, 14th of July 2024. The solar flare from the sunspot AR3738 occurred late Saturday night, July 13th at 10:34 p.m. Okay, and then this was reported on the 14th. 30th of June 2024. Okay, we have Clapham Oakley, Bedfordshire. Okay, 30th of June 2024, a solar flare occurred on the 30th of June 2024, specifically a moderate M1.99 class flare, and it was recorded at 6:57. 30th of June 2024, Stonehenge, Wiltshire. Okay, again, a solar flare occurred on the 30th of June 2024, specifically a moderate M1.99 class flare, much like the last one we saw was recorded at 6:57. Now, if you notice, the solar flare that happened on this day and on the Clapham Oakley, okay, they are exactly the same day. And then both of these crop circles appeared at the exact same time, babe. Now, the first one of 2024, 12th of June 2024 in Windmill, Wiltshire. Okay, a solar flare occurred on the 12th of June 2024, specifically a C4 class flare was observed at 1:07 from Sunspot region AR3713. There you go. Correlation? Okay. Need I say more?
This is a very interesting catch, and I do wonder if this has also been happening prior to 2024. There are more connections to solar flares and these crop circles of the past. And this is just a theory, but I do wonder as well if plasmoids or plasmids become more active when there's a solar flare, and it could be these plasmoids creating these crop circles sending a message. And again, it's just a theory. I know some people out there don't believe plasmoids exist, but when I see videos of crop circles and I hear these theories, I go back to this video here of orbs forming a crop circle.
This is amazing.
This individual here, in response to this video, said those are the same orbs spotted on news camera during the LA fires. And they look very similar, I have to say. And what's even more interesting is that they appeared, a lot of them, in Arizona right after we had this solar flare. There was a solar flare during May 13th and May 14th. What's even more interesting, like this individual said, they appeared during the LA fires, but only a few days prior to the LA fires, there was also a very strong solar flare that happened on January 4th of 2025. So is there a connection between solar flares, these crop circles, and these white things?
Right, so Casper Sight just shared some footage of drone footage capturing a disc-shaped shadow flying across the crop circle. I was actually in there at this time conducting research when he saw this, and he sees another object at the end. Watch this area, mate. Right? Disappears. Right? Huge disc-shaped objects. Now, checking flight radar data on that date, okay, on the 18th at 2:30, there's no aircraft or anything of the nature, okay? There's nothing there. All the other clouds you can see in the background, kind of, you can see them there moving at a nice slow pace. Watch it again. Look at the state of that, bro. And I kept seeing objects on the corner of my eye, like zipping about, not birds or anything like that. I kept seeing stuff, right? And there was a point when I was talking to some of the ladies and stuff in the inside. Look at it. Explain that. You can't. At the end, and then there was a point I was talking about the potential nature of metallic spheres or orbs are the ones that are actually producing these crop circles. And at that point, me and multiple people felt a rush of like static chargey type energy. Look at this, look. I'm not too sure about that. That could be a bird. You let me know what you think, guys.
That white thing he captured at the end and that static electricity he felt, again, it kind of brings me back to what's being seen flying in the skies. Now, I'm not saying there is 100% a connection there, but it would make a rather interesting deep dive and to further research. But apparently, the crop circle that appeared on May 15th was not the only crop circle. There was another crop circle that appeared on May 19th, and this video is from the Infinite Exchange on TikTok. I'm going to go ahead and give my take at the end, because this formation is very telling.
What's going on, guys? Well, here we go again. We got another one. Just 4 days after the May 15th formation had dropped, another crop circle has appeared. This time, this one is near Weymouth, Dorset in the UK. This one dropped on May 19th. This one right here, this one's got a lot of layers to it. Let's take a look at it from above, because this is not just geometry, this actually flows. Because there's a lot of layers. You can see right here, there's a crescent moon, okay? And on the other end, you have a pyramid that's breaking through what looks like frequency lines or realms. Okay, you have the two interlocking circles with the Vesica Pisces dead in the center, okay? And what looks like maybe petals or eyes. You're seeing this, right? No pun intended, but it's like awakening something. Something that's calling my attention inward. You have that same feeling?
This newest crop circle really interests me because you can see actually three spheres. You can see what looks like to be the moon, the sun, and then something in the middle that happens to look dark, what looks like to be covering either the moon or the sun. And if you remember, I made a video about a few weeks ago where there was something that was seen blocking out the sun, and NASA, they quickly came out and said that it was a solar eclipse that you can only see from space. What made things even more bizarre was that there were no scheduled solar eclipses for the month of April. So this really took people by surprise that were seeing this on live feed, and NASA had to quickly come out with an answer. And then a few days after that, people were recording this spherical object blocking out the moon. People are seeing 2 moons, 2 suns, and yes, there is the lunar and solar simulators that are patented, but seeing this crop circle really reminds me of this large spherical object blocking out the moon and the sun. But what's interesting, and I remember seeing this fascinating video by the Dr. Regenerated, that there is a country called Turkmenistan, and a lot of these symbols you're going to see in this country resemble those of what could look like crop circles.
If you remember my previous videos on this beautiful yet mysterious country, Turkmenistan, you should totally go back and check them out. But if you remember, one of the strange things about this country is just how hard it is to vacation there. But here's a video of somebody actually getting to travel there and sharing his unique experiences. Let me know what you think.
This is the strangest country in the world. There are no people around anywhere. The city is full of these crazy lavish monuments. There is no traffic. Malls, hotels are all empty. So the question is, where is everyone? This is the country of Turkmenistan, and after visiting more than 130 countries, this place is unlike anywhere I've ever been. The president requires all buildings and cars to be white. Tourists who do visit are under strict requirements to have a guide with you at all times, and are banned from visiting certain places and cities. Most websites and apps are banned, and Wi-Fi is pretty much non-existent. Every single activity we did, we were the only ones there, including this popular swimming hole and even the famous gas crater. We were the only ones who stayed at this awesome yurt camp. The airport is full of security guards, but for what? It's empty. Restaurants and streets, all the same. There are some camels around though. The locals I did meet were super friendly and welcoming. This place fascinates me and I've loved my time here so far, but the truth is there's just sort of a weird and eerie feeling you have when visiting here that's hard to explain.
But here's where things get a lot more interesting, because look at these shapes and the architecture.
A lot of you wanted to hear more on Turkmenistan from my previous video. It's a very beautiful and mysterious country, especially its capital, Ashgabat. Just look at the architecture. This is said to be just a Ferris wheel, a fully enclosed one. And you'll notice that star pattern in all of these beautiful structures. That's repeated all over. It's a beautiful city, but it's mostly empty. It looks like it's made to have tourists in the millions. But in fact, this country is one of the least traveled to countries in the world. The mainstream media says Turkmenistan is nothing more than just a country ruled by a dictator. A dictator that built all of this architecture for seemingly no reason. Of course, any news or communication with a majority of Turkmenistan is pretty much impossible. All the apps in the Western world, pretty much all of them are banned, and cell phones included. But one of the most beautiful parts of Turkmenistan is from above. Look at that architecture. Everything was built and laid out with such purpose and such pattern. Just like those old world Tartarian structures. Is this one of the last remnants of the old world, hidden in the desert? Or if we trust the experts in the mainstream media, is it just nothing more than a dictator's playground? A dictator that seems to love to emulate the layout and infrastructure of the old world. Question everything, friends. Until next time. A lot of you wanted to hear more on Turkmenistan from my previous video. It's a very beautiful and mysterious country, especially its capital, Ashgabat. Just look at the architecture.
The mainstream media says that this location is just a dictator's playground, but I don't know if I believe that. Whatever the mainstream media happens to say, I usually look the other way. The mystery of this location also gives me Astana, Kazakhstan vibes. It's just so interesting how cut off from the rest of the world this location happens to be, yet at the same side, it seems like it's next level, like it's some kind of AI city. And the architecture reminds me of, again, something you would see in crop circles. But talking about strange sightings in the skies, this next video comes from the paranormal chick on TikTok.
Dozens of locals from a small town in China captured what appears to be an unidentified object, being, or something above the clouds, standing there. And honestly, they have no idea what this is. I did zoom in to try to make sense of what this is, but it's hard to tell. Take a look at this footage, comment below, tell me what you think this could be.
Nam mô A Di Đà Phật à.
Cái nợ ngoại nước vô cái kìa. Nam mô A Di Đà Phật. Tiếp cái nợ ngoại đây. Tiếp cái nợ ngoại.
Tiếp nữa. Nó chìm hả? Đâu có vô nước đâu. Nam mô A Di Đà Phật à.
Cái nợ ngoại nước vô cái kìa. Nam mô A Di Đà Phật.
Tiếp nữa. Nó chìm hả?
At certain points, it really does look like whatever this is starts to move or it turns its head. But when I see something like this, I also think of Project Bluebeam, holograms, and how many people could be easily fooled by something like this. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.